How possible is it you are wasting your time learning skills that will have no value in the future? Extremely. I'm the CEO of a $250 million business in the US. I'm hiring people with high school diplomas to make six figures, and I'm firing people with fancy degrees whose skills have nothing to do with how the world is moving. So here are the 5 high-income skills anyone can learn to build wealth. At the end of the video, I'll share my modern millionaire playbook that outlines exactly how I would apply these skills for maximum earnings. Just the fact you're watching this video means you probably have the willpower to do this first job. So if I'm thinking about high income skills, it's all about sales. One of the richest people on the planet is a guy named Steve Ballmer, who was the CEO of Microsoft many years following Bill Gates. The ironic thing is Steve Ballmer did not come from the technical aspect of the company.
Video calls right from Windows Messenger and developers.
He was a sales guy. One of the best places to build your sales skills is in a local business. So think about teeth whitening businesses. They've been popping up everywhere. Ultimately, this comes down to sales. People may be interested in getting their teeth whitened, but they may be a little concerned, or they may not know exactly what to expect or how this is going to make their life better. And ultimately, it's your job as the salesperson of that local business to articulate the value that you can bring in a way that your customers are likely to resonate and ultimately choose to do business with you rather than your competition. Think about niche consulting services. One of the business models that I absolutely love for young entrepreneurs is to go out, learn a skill, and then sell that skill to companies or people that need that skill. Right now, AI is all the rage. Every company is looking for ways to be able to implement AI into their business. So one idea might be go out and learn how to do marketing with AI tools and then start to sell those services to companies that need those marketing services. So let's say you're earning commission. Would you rather earn commission every time you close a $100 sale, or would you rather earn commission every time you close a $10,000 sale? Which one do you think is likely to make you more money? Oftentimes you're gonna find it takes just as much time, ironically, to close low ticket items as it does high ticket items. So if you're gonna put your energy into learning sales, I suggest focusing on high ticket sales. High ticket sales oftentimes come with higher margin, which means more money for you as a salesperson. If I were a young person looking to get started, maybe wanted to go and become an entrepreneur, but I knew I needed to build my skills first, I would go out and figure out a local business where I could cut my teeth learning to do sales for high ticket items. This could be an HVAC business. This could be teeth whitening business. It could be a consulting business. Any of these could be great places for you to learn your sales skills while somebody else is paying you to do it. What if I told you that there was an online community of people who make thousands of dollars every month working from home with this next skill? One of the keys for success for building FilterBuy into what it is today is SEO. SEO used to be a fringe industry. Oftentimes gets a bad rap, but SEO can be extremely lucrative. I have seen people make millions of dollars doing SEO, both the white hat way and the black hat way, over the years. But there's a problem. The elephant in the room that everyone in the SEO community is talking about is how to do SEO in the age of generative AI. AI search engines are going to be the key for SEO in the future. If you're looking for where SEO is going, you've got to put your focus on AI search engines and how they're going to evolve. So here's a checklist for the elements I would be thinking about if I was doing SEO in the AI search engine era. First, you've got to be writing for the human that's behind the query. But at the same time, you got to be anticipating how the AI is going to interpret, summarize, and repackage your content. Step number 2 is you got to think about that structured data, things like FAQs and clear headings, so that search engines and generative AI can easily scrape your writing. Next, you need to be embracing topical depth. AI is going to reward layered, original thinking. So you got to answer the question that's being asked, but then you also have to prove that you have the depth that's backing up the reason that you answered in that way. Last, you need to be updating your content ruthlessly. What worked last month might be obsolete tomorrow. So gone are the days where you can just write an article and forget about it and expect it to give you web traffic for the rest of your life. You've really got to own your industry. You've got to really own your expertise. You've got to go deep more than wide. You want to make sure that you're constantly updating, refreshing your content, making sure that you remain the most up-to-date source for whatever topic it is that you're writing about. I wish more people understood the key to success with this next skill. Fun fact, the most common college major in the US is business. The average person graduating in business earns about $60,000 a year. But the average amount of debt someone takes out to get that degree is $29,000. Is that really a good value? Just to put it into perspective, if you were to take one of the free courses from Meta, TikTok, or Google on ad strategy, you could scale an agency that brings in $50,000 to $100,000 a year in no time. The reality is, it costs you $0 to educate yourself because Meta, TikTok, and Google are all incentivized for people to spend more money on ads on their platform. They are going to give you all the information that you need for free to learn how to use that platform effectively. It's your job to go out, study it, learn on your own how to do it. Then you take that skill set, find businesses to pay you money that need that skill set to help them to grow their business. That's the trade. You don't need to go to college to do that. You can literally do it for free. The key is going to be in the creativity. The creativity is the differentiating factor in being able to build something that people actually want versus not. You no longer have to have the hard skills of being able to do the programming yourself or being able to do the math or the science yourself. You just have to have the creativity for the idea and then use AI as your workforce or as your thought partner to figure out the details of how to make it happen. But what if you don't want to sit behind a computer all day? Good. The next generation of millionaires are going to be people who go out into the real world and get their hands dirty. So the average plumber in the US makes about $60,000 a year. You don't have to go to college to become a plumber. So why don't we talk about this work more? Why don't we encourage more people to go into the trades? There are lots of trades like this. HVAC technician, welder, dock worker, so many trades that ultimately can provide very stable incomes without going into debt and without a college degree. But what if $60,000 isn't enough? Well, there are strategies to build a plumbing business into a multi-million-dollar opportunity. We'll dive into that more with our next skill. When you're thinking about building skills in the trades, you need to be thinking about three main things. First, is this work future-proofed in the age of AI? The last thing you want to do is spend, a few years really building a skill that ultimately is just going to become obsolete. So I think being very honest with yourself about what is likely to remain and what is likely to be needed is extremely important. Building your people skills, your ability to sell, your ability to relate to people, your ability to manage people is ultimately going to be a huge differentiator in your ability to be a successful tradesperson. So do not underestimate the importance of those soft skills. Make sure that you focus on them, work with them, build on them. Third, where does real wealth come from in the service business? Ultimately, real wealth in any business comes around building sustainable systems. At the end of the day, a business is just a set of systems that when done repeatedly will get you a consistent result every time. This takes us to a skill set I was willing to pay over $100,000 for. So 2 years ago, we at FilterBuy decided to get into the HVAC service business. We call it FilterBuy HVAC Solutions. I actually partnered with a buddy of mine that I worked with at Goldman. He decided he was willing to go all in on understanding the HVAC trade, getting his hands dirty to understand really what it takes to be successful in the HVAC business. The beauty of the HVAC service business is not super capital intensive and high gross margins, which means that you can scale without having a lot of cash. And that's one thing that you need to be thinking about when you're going into any business is what are going to be the cash flow of this business as you scale. If someone wanted to start and be successful in the HVAC business, my advice would be to go out and work in the industry first. You want to get trained and work in an existing business, observe it, and then ultimately figure out how you're going to work in that industry going forward, how you're going to build your version of that business, how you're going to make it more successful. Now that you understand these businesses, this is my playbook for how to use these skills to become a millionaire. First, you have to know the industry that you're going after. For me, it started with in the air filter industry. Doesn't have to be super sexy, doesn't have to get you a date in the bar, but ultimately understanding the industry that you're attacking or that you want to go after is extremely important. You need to go out and become an expert in that as quickly as possible. If you want to become a multimillionaire or more, then this is what you need to do. Step number one is you've got to create a process. You've got to think through every aspect of your business. What products and services are you going to offer? How much are you going to charge? How are you going to collect that money? What are your expenses going to be? You need to outline your business from start to finish, and then you need to create a go-forward plan for how you're going to execute on that. Step number 2, hiring a team you trust. You've already outlined your process. Next, you got to go out and figure out how you're going to fill in the pieces of that process. And ultimately, that's going to come with hiring people you trust on a team. Like if you're a small startup, if you're just getting started and you come across someone who's worked in a 1,000-person HVAC company, then you might want to be a little bit careful because the person, they may be very good, come with a lot of recommendations, a lot of experience. They're used to working in a business that has a lot of resources, has a lot of money, has a lot of people already that exist. They may not be the best fit in a startup company like yours, even if they have a ton of experience. So culture fit is extremely important. You need to be hiring for the culture that you want to build and also people that are comfortable in working in whatever type of environment that you're looking to foster. The second piece is skill set. You want to go out and find somebody that's really good at the nitty-gritty, at the financials, and the details that you do not necessarily possess, right? So you want to make sure that you're looking for people that bring skills that fit with your culture, but also bring skills to the table that you do not have. Last, you got to be thinking about sales and marketing. While you can hire for this, and ultimately you're going to need to hire for it, you as the entrepreneur need to be your number one salesperson. But marketing is letting people know that you exist in the first place. And this is where high value skills like SEO and social media marketing come in. And this is why I always talk about the intersection of skills. Like if you can be like great at HVAC and also great at social media marketing, the combination of that is super potent, super powerful. And that's why I talk about building these high value skills. But if you can combine them with a trade, that's where the magic really can happen. If you like this video, this is episode 2 in my series about making your first $10,000 a month. Watch episode 1 where I talk about boring business right here.